Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. I'm your host, Chris Fuller, and on today's special episode, Mark and I sit down with a Christian music recording artist, Jordan St. Cyr, and discuss everything from faith, family, culture, society, and all the things in between. Join us for this special conversation. Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
Does that mean you have 8?
I have 8 kids.
Yeah, 8. I only have 3. So.
Yeah.
8 kids, brother.
Bro.
1-year-old, 5, just turned 6, 8,
You've
9.
got 4, right?
4, yeah.
2 girls, 2 boys?
Two girls, 2 boys. Our boys are 14 and 12. Girls are 9 and 5. So, yeah, it's great. It's great. You know, y'all know. It's like it's
You're on vacation, bro.
Yeah. Dude, I feel guilty every time.
Well, that's what we were talking with John. Where I was asking him, I'm like, man, you guys are doing a lot. He's like, no, the main tour starts this fall. And it's like, oh, man, that's going to be fun. You guys do typically like a Thursday through Sunday, he was saying?
Thursday through Sunday, yeah. So we'll do 20, 25 dates starting. Well, that one starts October. I mean, there's a run where we're doing in September where we're doing, 7 shows, 10 days?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Man.
So,
yeah. Now you doing the tour bus or you guys doing the flights?
I'm going to freeze real quick. Say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, we'll keep going.
Tour bus in October, November. We have mostly fly dates till then, but we're doing a van run up to like New England area, like Maine, New York.
That's
like 2 weeks up there.
A van run.
Now,
hotels.
did I see it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I see it right? You know John Tibbs, right?
I know of him. We've never met.
Okay, so we had him on the podcast.
Okay.
He's a friend of us,
like
ours,
3
yep.
years ago. Yeah, Tibby's, that's what we call him.
Right on.
So yeah, he's a cool dude, man. If you haven't touched base with him,
I really dig his music. Yeah. Thoughtful. You know what I mean?
Very much so.
I think at the end of the day, in this genre, it's like that's our job is to kind of like provoke just enough,
right?
You know,
Yep.
to push just enough. And I think he does a good job of that.
Oh yeah. Definitely does.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, and his story is just incredible too.
I have not heard his story.
So he actually has a speech impediment.
Okay.
So when he sings, for whatever reason, God makes it so that goes away, and then he stops
He
and it's
stutters.
like, it's
like,
got a bad stutter.
It's not Tourette's.
No, it's just a stutter. He's
Just
got
stutter.
a bad stutter, but
Incredible.
It's an incredible story,
That's
man.
so great.
So if you ever get a chance, because he lives there in Nashville with you, so
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But he was a Hoosier.
yeah, he was for a while. So
We're from South Bend.
I love it, man.
well, let's talk a little bit about you and your backstory. I guess.
Let's do
Are
it.
we recording?
I've been recording for like 5 minutes, bro.
Yeah. I love the podcasts that just start where they just play.
Press recording,
and it's
go.
like mid conversation is
Yeah.
where they fade it in.
Right.
And here we go.
Yeah, this is just a conversation. And so, like Real Talk Christian,
That's right.
Literally just conversation.
It's just conversation.
It's no
So we had
agendas.
last year we had
Marc Graham.
We had Marc Graham from Sanctus Real,
Yeah.
and like that went like twice as long as we thought.
We
He'd
asked
be
one
like, "All right,
question.
Real Talk," and then he would just say, it. We're like, "Holy crap, dude,
Yeah.
what?"
We just asked one question. The rest of the time it was just conversation surrounding everything. So
I mean, it's kind of
that's our
it's
niche.
it.
That's our
It's
niche,
what
man.
it's about. It's like, don't get me wrong, love playing shows, love doing the thing.
Sure.
But if it doesn't lead to this,
Right.
what's the point?
Exactly.
You know, don't get me wrong. Like I think music still impacts, but until you like get face to face, 1-on-1, 1-on-2, like it. That's what does it for me.
So that's what I was saying. Let's get into that. Yeah.
So leading into that, how do you manage to do that when you're on the road?
Like meet with people.
Yeah, just meet with people and have conversations. Is it
Like when
is it
I'm-
easy? Is it hard? Or is it?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Most people come up to you and just be like, "Hey, you're
Jordan."
Yeah, but I think it's always just being intentional with the person picking you up, your driver, the promoter, the old lady making you food. Like these are all the people that are put in your path, and if they're in front of you, then that's your mission.
Yeah. Right.
And so, but besides that, it's like, doing the meet and greets after the show,
Right.
Which again, they're a little, not super contrived, but like you're an artist and they're coming to see you and there's celebrity and all that. But you try and diffuse all that, you know, and you be real.
Because there's a level of professionalism you have to have.
Level of professionalism for sure. But like at the end of the day, I'm a husband. I'm a dad.
So,
musician comes maybe 10th on the list, right?
So how is that that mindset of almost like celebrity status. I know for us, like last year here at Revive Fest, we had people coming from all over going, "Hey, we want your autograph." We're like, "Whoa,
yeah.
We're two dudes in the basement doing a podcast. Like, no big deal here."
Yeah, I think.
How's that for you?
It's a tool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like hype.
Right.
Like I used to be so anti-hype,
Yeah.
in my life, and yet I was a huge sports fan. I'm like, dude, you like hype,
Right.
You know what I mean? You like,
Just don't like it when it's around you.
exactly. So it's like, oh, it's just a tool. Yeah. It doesn't have to be central to who I am, like celebrity.
Right.
I think when you put those things in the center, you're likely going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I just, again, I don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
I don't believe the celebrity.
Right.
And my kids and my wife remind me of
I was about to say, your kids
who
put
I
you in
am.
line, bro.
Well, they'll be front row to concert, and my boys will look bored out of their minds, and my girls
singing.
will be into it, but they've heard Dad before, and
Right.
so it's just a great reminder of like, hey, this is like, what a gift to be able to be on stage and do this, but it's not the main thing.
Right.
So I'm taking a different route then. So
All right,
like
go for
I
it.
remember I was listening to an episode that Thomas Rhett was doing with his wife.
Yeah.
And he said that the main thing that keeps them stable is their small group at their church back home.
There you go.
Do you guys have something like that where you have like a core group of people, so when you're out on the road, you come back home, it's like, oh man, this is family?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, our little community, the block we live on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's up, man.
Absolutely. So originally from a small town in Canada, south of Winnipeg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So small farming community. When I was there, it was
Holy
about
crap.
1,200 people.
And now the last name makes sense.
there you go. And we're there.
Now the last, I'm like,
Cooking now.
Oh, Canadian, okay.
Yeah.
Those French people.
Those French people, man. And so, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the house we lived in, we lived there for 13 years. All of our kids were born and raised in this small little town, up to a certain point before we moved to Nashville, and we had just really built just the sweetest relationships with neighbors on our block, and there's like 30 kids, and our house was kind of on the corner, and just everybody was over all the time.
Yeah.
And that was the point for us. That was the whole thing. And so we've recreated that a bit with our home in Tennessee, and we've just, neighbors are out. There's kids on the block. It's like, that is, here's my hot take.
There we go.
Here's my hot take. I think this isn't anything against church,
Right.
but I think we wouldn't, live our Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays, like, all these days of the week in the building when we could, enact what we're called to do in our community.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes, go for Sunday. Yes, bring the kids to youth group. Yeah, do Wednesday night prayer, whatever it is. But your life is truly lived, as an overflowing from your house,
Right.
Literally the physical house.
100%.
You know what I mean? And so get to know your neighbors' names.
Yep.
Get to know who lives beside you. If you notice their grass getting a little long, go cut it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're all just need
It's
a
the
little bit of
simple
help.
stuff.
It really is. It really is. And if that takes away from, Monday night church service, well, maybe that's what you're called to
Yeah,
do,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
That's
one
called being
time.
the church.
I
being the
remember,
hands
Come
and
on.
feet.
I
Come on.
remember
There it
one
is.
time, like I was out walking around the church hallways, getting things set up and make sure the kids were good. And this guy walks in halfway through the sermon,
Yeah.
on Sunday morning with his family. I'm like, dude, Fuller, where you guys been? He goes, oh, we were helping someone whose car broke down.
There it is.
And I'm like,
It's just being the hands and feet
most
of Jesus.
people are
That's what we're
like,
called
no,
to be.
I gotta get to church, I get the family
Yeah.
to church, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden he walks in like, nah, dude, there are some people stranded, and we had to help them out.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
like,
what it's
that's
about.
Fuller, man.
I mean, that's what it's about for me, and sounds like that's what it's about for you.
My wife is leading me in this area.
Is she really? Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. I think if I'm going to be honest, like there's just so many ways in which I am selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the needs of people around us are literally showing us the way to work out our salvation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, and nobody's really directly saying it. You got to keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
Somebody breaks down on the highway,
Right.
and maybe their battery's dead. Well, you go charge it. Well, it doesn't charge. Well, maybe you got to go
Give
buy them a
ride.
battery.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you drive them to the battery place. Maybe you buy it for them.
Right.
Maybe you bring them back. And it's like,
100%.
it's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of energy. It's not a lot of money, but it's a disruption in our flow. Right. And if we can allow the Spirit to disrupt our day, then I think, man, we're better for
But
it.
I mean, I think it goes back to what even Jesus said, right? Which is, hey, I was thirsty and you gave me water. I was naked and you clothed me. I mean, that's what it's about. When they go out, we never saw you. What are you talking about? And he's like, oh, yeah, I was there. You just didn't see it.
We're all going to have a conversation one day with Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now,
I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling
it's
real
not going to
nervous.
be this big, heavy, but I think what it is like we are, we have an opportunity here in this life to get to know him.
Right.
And I believe, this is again my opinion, is that heaven is just a next step in our journey of understanding who God is. And so we have an opportunity to do a lot of learning here.
Yeah, right.
And if we don't do it here, I think he's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to put you through this course over here. And
That's
you know what I mean?
I told Mark, I said, it's not like this life is like basic training. It's a training ground. For us,
That's what you've always said.
And so
You've
we're just
always
training
said that.
for the
Yeah.
next step. Like church and youth groups they're just training to be out in the world and to be the hands and feet. And being here, hands and feet. Now we're just training for the next stage of whatever that life is, that afterlife, whatever it may be. So.
Absolutely. And if we can, again, just allow our lives to be disrupted for, I believe, kingdom purposes.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
It's hard though. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And I want to ask how you do that on the road and when you go back home, obviously you're with your neighbors or whatnot, but how do you balance that tension? Cause we live at home all the time.
Yeah.
But for you, you're gone
You just
a lot,
be available, give of yourself. For us, I mean, a lot of it is just giving of our time and having conversations.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it. Something that I have not done yet that I'm kicking myself to do must have been a couple weeks. Me and my son, Liam's 12, we're driving down the street and he looks left and he's just kind of like, he's not staring, he's more stunned. And he just sees this homeless person. And Liam is just a tender-hearted boy. And he's like, and I just look at him and I'm like, it's hard, isn't it? He's like, yeah. It feels like there's really nothing you can do. He's like, yeah. And immediately I was like, why don't we go to Dunkin' Donuts? And why don't we just buy some gift cards that we can keep in the car? You know what I mean?
It's nice, yeah.
Right? It's really not hard.
Right.
And again, our job is not to figure out the outcome. It's like, I'm going to go give him $5. Oh, is he going to go buy booze with it? He's going to go buy drugs.
Right.
That is not my job.
That's God's
That's
area
God's.
to work out.
And that's what's hard because I grew up in super fundy Baptist worlds, and we were told you don't give any homeless man money because they're going to spend it on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and Jesus is
it's
like, you
hard.
lay it down.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
give
And that's
it.
hard. That's
Yeah.
hard.
They ask for $5, you give them 10. You give above and beyond.
That's right. Sevenfold, I believe.
Yes.
So that is the plan is to we're just going to stock up the vehicles with gift cards.
It's a great idea.
You know what I mean? Something that's accessible. Maybe it's Starbucks, maybe it's Dunkin', whatever.
We like Chick-fil-A, but
exactly Chick-fil-A. And just, hey man, I never have cash.
Right.
Never have cash. I don't have cash. Would this bless you? Would you want this? Again, treat them with dignity because maybe they don't want that card.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, be curious. Let your curiosity overwhelm your judgment.
Yeah.
Right. And let that
Sound
guide
like
you.
Ted Lasso right now.
Yeah, come on.
I'm like, hold up. I know this one. Stay curious.
That's so good. So good.
Yeah. So I guess one question I always have, this is kind of my baseline question for guys that are on the road, is what is your biggest struggle when you're on the road?
Oh, dang. Real talk.
I mean, is it staying connected in your faith? Is it family? Is it all of the above kind of thing?
I think it's all the above, like being intentional to, call my wife every day, maybe twice a day,
Right.
Staying connected with the boys as they get older. Yeah. Our boys are 14 and 12 now. Girls are 9 and 5. They're a lot more forgiving. Sure. They just need to see you when you get home. But these young men we're raising, we're not raising kids anymore.
Right.
That's something.
And if you don't mind me asking, because I have a 12-year-old too.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
On the road.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we try and involve them as much as we can when we're on the road. So this summer, the boys have come out a bunch.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
that's great.
So they get to see Dad do his thing.
They get to see Dad do his
people
thing.
and,
I mean, really, they get to eat fast food and get treats all week. You know what I mean?
Have you seen some of the places out here already?
Totally. The last place we were at, I think they had deep fried cookie dough. It was just
Well, they got deep fried Oreos here,
Oh,
and then
let's go.
they have fat balls, which I think are like bacon wrapped Oreos that are deep fried.
They got like a
It's
hibachi
crazy.
taco thing over there,
It's
man.
craziness.
Well, the podcast is over, boys. We'll see you
We
later.
don't get fat this weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Make sure you get some food. Well, don't get too full before you go up on stage. But
maybe post show.
Right, there you go.
Post show. Continually staying connected when I'm home, trying to be present.
Yeah.
Each of my kids, they're so different, and they need to be spoken to in their own language to feel like they're, heard and seen. And so, and then doing the things that they want to do. My boys, they just want to watch late night movies with dad.
Sure.
That's one thing. My oldest is 14. He's gone with friends all the time. So it's like, okay, I've got to, be intentional. Either get him on the road, honestly, just get him on a FaceTime. We got him a phone this year.
Oh man,
which we were like,
that's risky business,
dude. We held off a long time. We again grew up in a small town. Now we're in a big city, and so we're like, it's just we need you to have the ability to call us should you need us.
Yeah, right.
That's it. And so he's got a phone now. My youngest just wants adventure. Wants to be challenged in a personal way. He doesn't want to play sports. Let's go for a hike. Let's go fishing. Let's go, anything outdoors is his jam. The girls just love to play games, whether it's video games or, Game of Life or Guess Who or any of these games. They just want to sit and it's a beautiful thing. Again, they are the disruption, right? It's like his dad's doing his thing. Can I give them my yes? Yeah. It's so hard sometimes when it's like, my 5-year-old's just pulling on my hand. It's like, play games with me.
Right.
It's not even like,
you're like, hang on, I'm in the business. I'm talking to John
Dad,
right
do you have
now.
any time to play games? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Do you have any time? It's like, no, play games with me.
Yeah.
Because you're dad.
You're dad.
Right.
And you're home. So being present and just, again, giving them my yeses is hard. But it's like, as soon as you give in, it's like, oh, yeah, this is why. Yeah. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So, yeah. Now, but just pursuing them.
Has playing music always been kind of like your dream? Is this like, are you doing what you've always dreamed of doing? Or is this something that kind of like God opened the door and you're like, all right, I'll just walk through it?
Yeah, this is wild because this has been the dream forever.
Oh, yeah.
I think it became the dream 13 years old. We finally got a Christian radio station in Winnipeg. Yeah. And
dude, small. Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed so hard.
No, what's funny is
I grew up right outside Chicago, so
we got in our big city when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
So Winnipeg's like it's got to be close to 1 million people now.
Wow.
And we didn't have a Christian radio station.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I remember hearing Jars of Clay for the first time, and I was like, "That's."
Taking you back too, big
That's
guy.
great.
That's my old school jam right there,
dude. And so that was just. I didn't know that I could do what they're doing, but I was pretty grateful for it.
Yeah.
Just to be here. I often say it like the new car smell has not worn off. Right. My songs kind of took off over the pandemic. Which is crazy. And I can't believe.
Which that's the first time I've heard of you too.
I think it was 2020 or 2021 is the first time I came across one of your videos on Facebook, and I was like, "Wow, man, this guy's good."
That's crazy, crazy, man. And here we are.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I see you got.
I'm just looking.
So
at
we have
the
like
list.
Our list has like 15 or 20 questions.
Yeah,
we haven't even asked one of them yet.
No, you've asked one.
Have I?
Asked one.
All right, I've asked one, but I didn't know it.
Like we just asked, what's been the most challenging moments? Have we asked what have been the most challenging moments in your career?
Yeah.
We asked.
Yeah,
that's what we just asked. That's what
we did.
Yeah. Well, did we?
Well, it's slightly
I guess
worded it
on the tour.
But I'll ask this. So in your career, though,
Before.
what have been things where stumbling blocks isn't the right word, but I guess challenges? Like, what's been a big challenge in your career, and how did you guys overcome it?
Well, immediately it wasn't something necessary to overcome. Well, yeah, it was. Okay, so I'm on the road with Jeremy Camp. I'm in San Antonio.
Just drop that flex like no
Yeah,
big
just-
deal, you know.
Well,
It's like facts are facts, my dude. Facts are facts.
I don't know what to say.
Way to call them out, and make it awkward.
Then I was chilling with newsboys, and then then just
me
real
and
popped
Michael
up.
W. Smith, we went out to lunch and
Dude, I love it. Anyways,
biggest challenges.
I was just on this little tour out west. I got a call from my wife saying, we got to go to the hospital. Emery's having seizures.
Wait, while you were on tour,
I was in Texas.
oh my goodness.
and were you guys living at Nashville at the time, or
We had recently moved. We moved in February. This happened, I believe, it was March or April.
Oh, so y'all hadn't even settled yet.
We hadn't even settled yet. And we had just, we hadn't figured out the U.S. healthcare system yet.
Yeah.
Which apparently most of y'all haven't either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, you ain't lying.
So I cannot get home till Monday, and it's Saturday.
Oh,
yeah.
so your heart drops.
I'm the worst father.
Worst dad
I'm
ever,
the worst
right.
husband. We moved my family, to a new country, and I can't be present with my family in its time of need. And that was again, my wife is amazing. Like she's like, I got this. You know what I mean? Like,
your wife has to be she is a saint.
She's a saint. For real.
Last name, but like, she's got to be a saint.
You all know, right? You're married, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The anchors of the home.
The anchors of the home, they're closer to heaven than
Right.
I'll ever be.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she just said, get home when you can. And again, I believe she had a big seizure and then another one at the hospital. And then everything kind of wrapped up and it was okay. But I got home, got to the hospital, and it was scary. It was just scary, just not being there. Everything was new. And so there was a lot of PTSD from that moment, especially on my wife. And here I am being a professional leaver of the house, And so...
And you still had to perform that night when you got the call, right?
And I just literally told everybody, I was like, having the worst day of my life.
All right, it's time to take a song and just pray for me and my family.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And I'm singing these songs for my wife and for my little one tonight, and it just, man, the songs that I feel that God has gifted me don't always have this bow on top.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we are walking through something that is a lifelong journey. Barring a miracle, but I don't know. And I say this very openly, and I'm open to God proving me wrong. I don't know the last time, I've seen somebody healed of Serge-Weber syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's just facts,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And now I do know, even in saying that, my heart and my soul ache for that heavenly perspective, knowing that if the healing doesn't come in this life, I know it's coming.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it still sucks in the meantime.
We are standing in a tension that we have to manage.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe God has us here for a very, real purpose.
Yeah.
He really does. It's shaping me. It's molding me. It's giving me language that I didn't know that I had inside me for people that need to hear it. I'm preaching the choir right now with you guys. This is an odd privilege that we have, because it's kind of like the first time you have a child. Something opens up inside of you, right?
Yep. Something you didn't know you had.
You didn't know you had. And God only gives that to people that have children.
Right.
If you don't have children, that part does not open up.
Right.
Right. And now you kind of take it a step further. You have a child with a special need.
Yeah.
There's a deeper piece that is opened up that you wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Right.
And so here we are. And
Man. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just navigating through that as a father. I mean, I know, like we talked about a little bit. I don't even know if he pushed the record button at that time, but just talking about the struggles of that and understanding, like, how can I be there for them and protect them, but also help them progress as a person to where outside influences, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they say. And to me, that's been my big thing with my son is it's not God has given you this disease or God has allowed this thing to happen to you. It's God has given you something special. And I look at it as more of a gift that people can't see and that you could touch people that I could never touch.
That's right.
But you mentioned that. I mean, we actually read the People's Magazine interview where you mentioned the fact of we all have insecurities on the inside.
Yeah.
But my daughter's is on the outside and she doesn't give a rip because she is just a happy-go-lucky kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that was a statement.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
Dude,
just trying to be honest. And again, we're all as dads trying to figure out this thing because our kids all suffer from an affliction.
Right.
Right. And so we're just trying to understand a little bit more. With Emery, she was born with this birthmark on her face, and she's a little stunner. Like, she is a beautiful little girl. And don't get me wrong, you see her insecurity pop out a little now and then. But with her, she does wear it on the outside, where we have the luxury, and it's not a luxury, to hide,
right,
in plain sight,
hide, suppress, and shut on down.
And she just like has an opportunity from such a young age to just boldly be who she is.
Yeah,
and if she can capture that, which she is doing right now, and if she can carry that forward, wow, she's going to be okay.
Yeah,
she really will. Yeah.
And that's the thing you really hold on to as a father, like, right?
Yeah.
As I'm walking with them through this young portion of their life, is making sure I'm there to help lead that, to foster that, so they are okay as they grow.
That's right.
And continue to grow.
And let's lean into that, dude, because this is a fun thing that Fuller and I try to do with these interviews, because you interview with radio shows all over the world. We're like, we don't want to ask those questions.
We don't want to ask.
So here's the fun question.
that.
Real talk, bro.
Yeah.
So what are your goals for your kids, all four of them, as a father?
Like, where do you would you want your kids to be?
Like, what's the goal?
15 years from now.
My wife just asked me this question, and I blanked.
Really?
She had a big old answer, but
I mean, okay, so
do you want to say, like, love Jesus? Like,
me and my
obvious.
wife have this thing, but I can't swear on this thing. But our job as parents, like, we always, okay, so let me backtrack a little. Like, something I instill in all of them, because our kids can be so entitled, is that people are way more valuable than things, right? And kids love to put things above their siblings. It's like, you know what I mean? So, like, what's the most important thing? And they're like, people. And then whenever my wife sends them off to school, she sends them off and she just says, be kind, be a good friend, right?
That's
It's
dope.
like you act, be a good friend.
Right.
And so our job as parents is to not raise little beep holes.
Yeah, right. No.
Ooh, you talking to the choir right now, but for reals.
For reals.
But for real,
And
though.
sometimes it seems impossible. It's like,
Sometimes it seems impossible.
Right.
However, we are not, what is the definition of that?
Right.
Well, I need to find the opposite of what that is.
Speaking of, my wife is dealing with some of that right now.
There you go. There
Sorry,
you go.
babe. Have fun at home without me.
and so we've got to find the way. What is the way forward? Where are we getting this, education to teach our kids? And it's like, it's the way of Jesus.
Yeah.
It's always the way of Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and life.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I want my kids to be absolutely in love with Jesus. You know what I mean? And have them at the center of their being as they get, married, as they have kids and get into a career, and hopefully they understand that a career will never be big enough to define them. Only Christ can do that.
Right.
And yes. And so that's where we're coming from when we want to raise kids that are loving and kind.
Yeah.
And I think in a world where the church especially has taken on this hat of, we are the authority and the moral police of everybody, even the people that don't believe in Jesus.
Right.
We're going to shove what we believe to be true down your throat. It's like that. Jesus never did that.
Right.
He never did that. I believe the crown of right and wrong rests squarely on his head. And when we take it off and try and wear it, it just, it gets ugly.
Yep.
And with you, and again, going into this a little bit, with you coming from Canada, which is a very post-Christian nation.
Totally.
I mean, now, which fun fact, did you know that all Catholic schools are funded by the government 100%? I just learned that yesterday.
I did not.
What?
I just learned that
Really?
yesterday. Catholic schools are funded by the government.
Huh.
That's incredible.
It's weird. I just found this out from a colleague yesterday. But either way, but with you going from Canada, post-Christian nation, to, you're basically Bible Belt.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You can hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
You can buy it at Walmart.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's super interesting.
That's going to be a culture shock for you.
It is a bit of a culture shock, where back home, we live in a bit of a Bible Belt, kind of where we're from. However, you do stand out, so it is interesting. I think the negative of the South is just complacency. We moved into our house going on a few years, and we're in a newer neighborhood, and everybody just felt standoffish. and we're like, man, this is kind of weird for all very likely being Christians,
Yeah.
And you realize that, everybody's just new, and I think we've all got a little complacency as we've come up to different challenges.
Right.
We've got a lot of young kids on the block. Okay, so that has the opportunity to creep in and create complacency. We all live in a new neighborhood. We've all moved from somewhere. That has the ability to creep in and create that complacency. But then again, growing up in the South, it's like, hey, you still have to actively be a part of the work that God has prepared for you to do.
Yeah.
Starting in your home, and then your neighborhood, and then out from there.
It's like a ripple effect.
It's a ripple effect.
Pebble drops, right? That's your home, and then it spreads out from there.
Yeah.
So with you raising your kids in your house, then, I mean, do you guys have, like, when you're home, like family devos or like catechism time, or I'm sure you guys sing together.
We sing together a lot. Okay,
so I'm like, if Dad's paid to sing, I mean,
he's okay. He's all right.
I mean, my kids have to hear me sing, and I just say God said make a joyful noise, not a good one,
right?
Not a good one.
I sing all the time. My boys actually might both have perfect pitch.
Really,
but they don't. I'll hear them upstairs kind of goofing around and singing. I'm like, that was nice. That was a good run.
Right. Record.
Got
Tori Kelly upstairs, baby.
Totally, man. Where my 9-year-old girl who loves to sing all the time, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. But my
maybe
girls,
you can be a drummer.
Yeah.
Maybe get rhythm.
Yeah. Bass. Yeah. Totally.
Why do the bass players always get ragged on, man?
Bro.
We're both bassists.
Here's the thing, right? The drummers are the heartbeat, but the basses are the blood that flows through the body.
There you
That's
go.
true.
You can't sing without the bass. Come on,
man.
That's true. That's
true.
true. But going back to your family and your
we'll
house.
stick her in a choir or something. No, my girls, so my 9-year-old girl is just all Jesus. Like, it's just,
awesome.
It pours out of her. Like, when she sings with me, she kind of furrows her brow and she's like into it, like she's serious. But we will actively sing together. When we get in the car, it's, can you turn on the worship music? It's awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah. And my little girl, Emery, she's 5. She is all into, there's moments in the car where you just see her hands in the air.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's just like, it's just this kind of second nature thing. And so, my wife reads them their Bible story every night. I think they're going to be done the Bible. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. See, where my boys, they're a little older, and the way I think we're just treating the whole faith thing is, it's a delicate dance with them, because you can see that they're forming their own opinions and their own ideas and all that. Mm-hmm. And so I pray with them every night, before they go to bed.
Like one-on-one, or more like as a family?
No, me and the 2 boys, because they share a room.
Oh, just them. Okay.
Just them. And so we used to go around like, okay, Aiden, it's your turn to pray. Now it's Dad and Liam. And it just got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I need to be showing these guys how to pray and praying over them. Mm-hmm. And so that is our moment in time to recalibrate. And again, throughout the day, we're always talking about our faith. We're always talking about why we do what we do, especially conversations. Mm-hmm. But this is something where the girls, it's just such an immediate, love of God that flows out of them. Don't get me wrong with the boys. They're just showing it differently. Mm-hmm. And I've seen firsthand families that force a belief system down somebody's throats, and it just backfires.
Right. And real talk, that's my biggest fear, because it's like, I'm a pastor. It's like, this is what I do. We teach, we have conversations, we go to church, and I don't want my kids looking at me. And again, I mean, even you look at John Piper, he has 2 sons. One's a pastor and one's a strict atheist. Right. Like, he goes, I can't believe you shoved this down my throat.
Right. There you go.
And I'm like, it's that dance. And I don't know how to do that dance.
So my parents emulated the perfect dance. And here's the problem, is it's super messy. It's super messy. Right. If you want to get it right, it's going to look wrong. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the truth.
For real. And so my brothers were the guys that did everything, kind of all the things. I was the church kid, and I don't see me as being right. This is just something that latched on early on, and I had my own issues to deal with, that I'm still dealing with, my self-righteousness, my pride. I can do this on my own strength. I can figure it out myself. These are things that are almost worse. Pride is something that I think is the worst of all, because Jesus is like, I can't do anything with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where if you're like doing drugs, he's like, I got that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's easy to do.
Don't get me wrong. I think there's pride in all of that as well. But excuse me. Nope. Nothing's coming out. All right. But
don't feel bad. We do it all the time.
There were, there were just such defining moments in my, childhood where my parents exhibited unconventional love that needed to be done. So one being, my parents were always heavily involved in church. My dad was worship pastor. My mom worked in children's ministry as long as I could remember. And this was probably about the time my oldest brother was 15, 16. Younger brother was 12. And so younger brother was smoking already, And
then how old were you in the mix?
I was in the middle. So I was 14. And, like just this, you could tell like they were pushing back hard. And I tell my kids this, when they do push back, it's like, hey, that's your job, right? Your job is to push back.
Right.
My job is then to show you the boundaries.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's going to hurt a little too.
I'm your friend, but I'm also your parent.
Dude, parent first.
Yep.
We'll get to friends.
Right.
But so this moment, my dad talks about leading worship from stage, seeing his three boys, and my older brother, younger brother couldn't care less, and he's like, "What am I doing? I'm losing my boys." And so that was the last time that he led, and he's like, I've got to give my boys more, just different. And
so was he volunteering at the time in the church? So was this taking up a lot of time?
It was a church plant.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was a thing. And
so was it working a different job and then doing a lot with the church?
He was doing a day job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was I think it was just a moment for my dad to lay down some of his dreams and desires to get back to the, mission number one being his family.
Right. Right.
Why that's so important is because my dad's dad left when he was a kid.
Oh, wow.
He grew up with, four siblings, single mother, on welfare, the whole deal.
Wow.
And so this was like a defining moment to, give up what you sometimes think is the first call, being a minister or a pastor. But I think, again, the first call is always people,
right?
And the people that, you have been given to you,
right?
Your wife and your kids. And so that was just, again, I remember that being so important, because I can now look back and say, well, both my brothers are huge spiritual influences on my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. They love God. And awesome. They took a crazy scenic route, but that scenic route has given them so much perspective that I wish I had in my life.
And that's, we talk about that all the time, because
that's me.
He went the scenic route, and I went the church route the whole way through.
Right.
Yep.
And so, I love them so much, but they would not be where they are if my parents didn't hold, their belief system in regards to their kids with an open hand. And so, I don't think he'd mind if I said this, but like my oldest brother and his girlfriend at the time were pregnant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we live in this small religious community, 1,200 people, 6 churches. Like
everybody knows.
Everybody knows who's going to church,
yep.
Who's not, who's doing bad things, who's doing good, the whole deal, right? Yeah. And so my parents, again, did the unconventional thing. Are you guys committed to this child? We're not asking you to get married, which is, whoa, okay.
What are you talking about?
I got some hot takes on that.
Again, like forcing them to get married might have driven them apart.
Right.
Okay. But they built out their basement into this beautiful little condo for my brother and his, girlfriend and their new baby. And now they're 17 years married with 2 kids, and so it's unconventional love. Look at people first. Look at the love of Christ. Good Lord. Like that is the most unconventional route to take, and I think that's it. It doesn't always line up with the law perfectly. Right. Yep. But our response to it does, so yeah.
Dang, I want to take this conversation for like 2 more hours. We got to get going on stage. So, Fuller, are there any other questions that you had in your back pocket?
No, honestly.
If not, I got one.
All right,
go for it. I was going to say.
All right, final question. So you've toured. We've already flexed on Jeremy Camp. We already flexed on that.
Yeah.
What's a bucket list thing for you as a musician where you're like, dude, I would love to do this?
This would be like the pinnacle.
Play at the Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Opry.
I think honestly,
Dollywood. Play at Dollywood.
Dollywood. Yeah. Play with a Dolly Parton at Dollywood.
Yeah, right.
That would come up. I mean, that.
Jolene.
Dude, it's so funny because I didn't grow up with country music at all. You know what I mean? Like I grew up.
I hated country music until my East Tennessee wife forced it upon me.
There you go.
And now I love me some TR. I'm just saying.
I love it. We're almost done. I love it.
John?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, guys.
Well, real talk.
Real talk.
Sure.
Sometimes he'll be knocking on the door because he's saving me.
Yeah.
But we're having a great conversation, so he's not saving me. Yeah.
Hey guys, we don't suck. Let the record show.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you get just a lot of stale questions.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
For me, I'm like, if we're not jumping in the deep end, I'm like, guys, I could be at home. You know what I mean?
We'll real talk.
Well,
Throw the whole story out, man.
I'm like, dude, if we want to hear about, no offense, if I want to hear about the Serb Band, the song, I'll go to YouTube.
For
It's
real.
all over freaking YouTube.
It's true. It's true.
We like the unconventional interviews.
Dude, 1,000%. 1,000%.
But this might be a normal question. But dude, is there do you have a bucket list of like, dude, this would just be so cool? Perform with the kids on stage. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
dope.
Again, like I don't care to mold them in that way. Like, show me what you're made of, kid. And if you can be on stage with me, great. But that'll be your choice,
right?
Not mine.
But it would still be cool to be like, the kids are like, hey, Dad, we want to go up on stage with you this one time and just.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
out,
absolutely. I think the boys would never do it, and the girls would love to do it, but they're really shy. Right. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, maybe one day. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's great. There's certain places to play like Red Rocks or certain theaters that are really cool. Yeah. Dude, at the end of the day, none of that sparks as much joy in me as just the depth of again, great hangs and conversations.
That's dope.
Right. You know what I mean? So like my favorite thing to do is listen to biographies, and really? long form podcasts. But I love listening to the biography, read by the person,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Like, Matthew McConaughey, Greenlights.
Oh yeah.
I actually haven't listened to it, but
dude,
that's one of my wife's favorite biographies.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you got to listen to it.
She listened to
with
it.
Matthew McConaughey reading it.
He does voices. It's like, it's brilliant.
Yeah, she loves this. My wife is a big audiobook person.
It's just like I used to, again, like growing up in the church, I used to listen to like a lot of Christian self-help, kind of, right?
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, that's cool. But honestly, the greatest help I've gotten is by sharpening my spirit with testimony.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you want to know how to live? Well, listen to people who
sit at the feet, man.
Dude, for real. Yep. And they're going to tell you all the things to do and not to do.
Which Eugene Peterson, the pastor, have you listened to that one?
I haven't.
That's one of the very few that made my calling as a pastor like, yeah, this is what's up.
Dude.
It was one of the very few books where I went, holy crap. This dude is what's up.
Right.
And he read it. Did he read it himself? He may have done. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Because I found it after he passed away.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't remember if he'd read it himself or not. But that was one of the few biographies where I went, dude, this guy's legit. Because you think Eugene Peterson, he wrote The Message. He's some famous guy. Yeah. He's like, no, he intentionally was like, no, dude, I pastor a small little church. And I'm going to do it to the day I die.
It's crazy.
Like,
it's crazy.
That's kind of the cool thing. I was just telling Mark earlier, I watched Casting Crowns just came out with their new documentary, Home on Sunday, right? I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it.
I haven't, no.
Phenomenal documentary of just watching them guys just like, no. I'm a youth pastor first.
Yeah.
I'm a youth pastor.
Well, same with Mark from St. Just Real.
I'm
He's
here
a
for my
youth
kids.
pastor.
Yeah. Right. Mark Graham, same way. I'm here for my kids first.
Yeah.
He would say, I'm a youth pastor that gets to play music. It sounds like you're like, I'm dad, a husband that gets to play music.
1,000%.
That's what it is, right?
1,000%. Because if I become the stereotype pastor, right, or minister or musician that screws up his family, that would be the ultimate. Yeah. Like I could fail at music, that's fine.
So maybe not the ultimate pinnacle point of his career, but the ultimate disappointment that he wants to avoid.
Yes, yeah, right exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with
the other way.
But there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of like there's skin in the game. Like there's something to lose, and it keeps you sharp.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at like as a goal in the future, I think as an artist, I'm still finding myself. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so,
mind if I ask, how old are you, bro?
I'm 41.
And you're still figuring.
Okay, so you
I hate to say this. I'm 32, and I'm like, dang.
I'm 36.
Yeah.
So
I think. Well, I believe this to be true. I think good things, maybe the best things, take the longest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love the music I've put out, and I'm just so excited to just keep going to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Like my favorite thing is to be in the writing room writing songs.
Yep.
And so I think the goal of mine as an artist is to really land something that differentiates me from, that is just uniquely my own.
Sure.
I think we're all individuals. We all have been given a unique name, a unique calling.
Yep.
And I think as artists, our job is to chase, that thing, that vibe, that sonic quality. And our job is to find the unique thing. Right. And so, I think that's just the pursuit I'm on. That's really what,
cool.
And again, it's so centered around people, because if you want to do it right, you cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing. I think the gift of collaboration.
Well, that's the big thing. So I guess I do have a final question.
Yeah. the final question.
The final. You can be a short.
There's a reason why most of our episodes used to go an hour and a half long.
Yeah, that was only because we forced them to stop.
We pulled it back.
Dude, I literally will, I'll listen to 3-hour plus podcasts.
Dude, the George Janko.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
The Rogan.
The Rogan.
Right. Whatever.
Yep.
If it's
Ruslan's doing 2-hour long ones
if
now.
it's long, I'm in, because I want to know the person behind the veil.
A lot of the
that's
stuff
why we started
we
that
used to
way,
do
yeah.
like 20, 25 minutes of just bantering, just talking about us and our lives.
Yeah.
And then we'd jump into the content, but then we'd banter throughout. It was a long podcast for a long time.
Hey, a lot of our friends like Jesse and Zach and Sabrina, they like it when we do that. But then people find us on Spotify and like, you guys are a Christian podcast and
never get to the
for 15
content.
minutes. We're like, yeah, because we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Our
Two dudes in
response
the
is,
basement.
well,
Yeah.
if you don't like it, I mean, there's other thing out there.
Dude.
I mean,
This is not your flavor? That's fine.
right.
That's fine.
So I guess my final question is with your style and chasing your uniqueness.
Yeah.
Do you find it easy or difficult, the wide range of audience that you get? Like, is it a big audience? Is it more like a niche? Is it
in terms of like suburban white moms?
We started off
white
with
SUV moms? Or
we started off. Our whole podcast philosophy is we're just two dudes having a conversation about things that people in the church don't typically talk about.
Right.
Don't have the opportunity.
But
to
we're
talk
not
about.
we're not a Bible study.
But we're not like Bible specific or society
Exactly.
specific.
Right.
So we're not a niche, and so we reach a wide range of people. Have been in the faith for a while, new believers.
Yeah.
Teenagers to 60, 70-year-olds.
Exactly.
I mean, it's kind of just a wide range. But for you, do you find your music, you got like kind of like that age group, or is it like it's?
I think honestly, the music's resonated the most with people who have felt deep pain that hasn't gone away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People of faith. Yeah. You all know what I mean. People of faith who believe in the God of miracles, but stand in that tension between their miracle and the not yet. Like a song like Fires, when that came out, 6 months after that song came out, my little girl was born. So it was not written for her. It was almost God's gift to us saying, hey, I'm gonna show you who I am and reveal a little piece, a little bit deeper of who I am in this song, and then you're going to live it out.
Yeah. Right.
And again, I think he did that out of kindness, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm going to set you up to win, to believe deeper for what's coming next. Yeah. What it's made me realize is just there's so many people that are living with chronic conditions that they have not received their answer to prayer yet. And so here we are. And how can I best serve you as an artist to provide music that doesn't just gloss over, the hurt and the pain? And
it's not the surface level.
It's not
bebop Christianity.
Which there's
a place for that.
I heard it said best. Tom Douglas, country writers, like there's only two kinds of songs that help you remember and songs that help you forget.
Yeah.
And I'm in the remember camp,
dang.
Because you need both. Not one is better.
Right.
You've got to celebrate. You've got to party. You've got to allow your spirit to rise up and dance and get excited.
Yep.
Hype, right? It's a tool. But you got to help people remember their Heavenly Father in times of great weakness and great sadness. And yes, you're providing hope, but you're also standing in the tension when things do feel hopeless, you know? And can we do that as, you know, people of the faith? Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. Well, hey, Joe, we'll land the plane here, man. Yeah. So what's the best way for people to support you and your music? Is it Spotify, Apple Podcasts?
Venmo?
Venmo, Cash.
Don't give it to Spotify. They don't pay out.
If you're old school checks.
Taylor Swift put them on the fire, man.
Oh, man. You know what? Honestly.
Buy the merch. Just buy the merch.
Connect to the story. I think that's the long play is like, introduce yourself at a festival, at a show. Come hear the message that I believe God's put on my heart. My hope and prayer is that it gives people permission to share theirs and share it. Again, it doesn't have to be on a stage. It's in your neighborhood. It's in your churches. It's in your small groups. It's at your kids' soccer games. This is where true ministry happens, you know? So connect on Instagram at Jordan St. Cyr. If you do the website thing, jordanstcyr.com. And
now, you're on TikTok too, or mainly just Insta?
I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. You know what I mean?
You're supposed to
there, but it's not.
There's content that is posted to TikTok, but
that's like us on X. It's like
right.
No, everywhere
we're there, but we're not.
No, we're
there.
everywhere, but we're not there.
I literally deleted it.
Yeah,
I don't even use it.
I don't even check it anymore.
Yeah, we don't either.
You know, so I'm like, yeah. So
Insta's number one though.
Insta's the thing, I think, for me. Yeah.
We're millennials. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I love that.
Well, Jordan, we appreciate you being on.
Guys, thank you so much for the real talk.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Well, what an incredible time we had with Jordan. If you guys want to check out more about Jordan St. Cyr, you can see him pretty much anywhere on Spotify, on iTunes, YouTube. Any place that you can listen to any other artist, you can find Jordan St. Cyr. You can also check him out at jordanstcyr.com. If you have not already checked us out on any of the social medias, we are there. We're everywhere. Also, if you have not already gone over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification for Real Talk Christian Podcast, do so now so that when we're on, you kind of know. If you ever want to reach out to us, you can go to Real Talk Christian Podcast at gmail.com and reach out to us by email or by our phone number 574-400-5352. You can also head over to our website if you have any other further questions that you want to know if we actually covered that topic or not. realtalkchristianpodcast.com and see if we actually covered that. We really appreciate you guys sticking around for this special time we had with Jordan St. Cyr. And until next time, take it easy.